Do you ever feel like you're walking on eggshells around your family? Like having a different opinion suddenly makes you the villain in their story. Maybe you've started doubting yourself, wondering if you're being selfish or ungrateful just because you see things differently than they do. If that sounds familiar, drop a yes in the comments so we can see how many of us are in this together. Here's the thing. Guilt tripping is manipulation, even when it comes from people who love you. In today's video, we're breaking down 8 telltale signs that your family uses guilt to control your opinions. But here's what most people don't realize. There's an invisible cost that happens gradually. You stop even thinking your own thoughts because you've gotten so good at predicting their guilt. Thank you for supporting our mission to make psychology more accessible. Signs 1 to 4. The emotional manipulation tactics. Sign 1. The sacrifice narrative. Have you noticed how certain family members bring up everything they've ever done for you the moment you disagree with them? It sounds like this. I worked 2 jobs so you could go to college, and this is the thanks I get? Or, after all the sacrifices I made raising you, you're going to disrespect me like this? Does your family have a receipt they love to pull out the moment you disagree? What's the one they use most? Is it money, education, or just everything I've done for you? Here's what's happening. They're creating an artificial debt for what should have been normal parenting or family support. The underlying message is that their past actions have somehow purchased your future compliance. Let's say you're a young professional who wants to spend the holidays with your partner's family for the first time. But when you tell your mom, instead of discussing your plans, she says, I worked 2 jobs so you could have a nice home, and now you can't even spend Christmas with your own mother? Suddenly, your desire to build your own traditions becomes a betrayal of her sacrifices. When love comes with a receipt, it's not a gift. It's a transaction designed to buy your future compliance. Sign 2. The emotional gatekeeper. This one's subtle but powerful. Instead of taking responsibility for their own feelings, they make their emotional state your responsibility. You'll hear things like, you're making your mother's blood pressure go up, or your father can't sleep at night because of your choices. Notice the shift in language. A healthy expression sounds like, I feel hurt when you make decisions without talking to me. But manipulation sounds like, you're hurting me with your choices. See the difference? One owns their feelings. The other makes you responsible for them. Consider this scenario. You decide to change your career path, maybe leaving a stable corporate job to pursue something creative that actually aligns with your values. Instead of discussing your career, your parent immediately focuses on their own health. I haven't been able to sleep since you told me about this. My heart just can't take this kind of stress. Now, you're not just making a career decision. You're potentially responsible for their medical crisis. This tactic works because it triggers your natural empathy and makes you responsible for managing their emotions. But here's the truth. You are allowed to make healthy choices without being responsible for someone else's blood pressure. Sign 3. The comparison trap. Does your family have a golden child they love to reference whenever you step out of line? Your sister would never talk to us this way. Or, why can't you be more like your cousin who always agrees with family decisions? These comparisons serve a specific purpose. They dismiss your individual experience and suggest that your opinion only matters if it matches theirs. What they're really saying is, we prefer people who don't challenge us. Be honest. Are you the rebel of the family, or were you the golden child who is finally starting to speak up? Let us know your role below. Sign 4. The losing my child drama. This is when a simple difference in opinion gets framed as personal abandonment. You'll hear dramatic statements like, I don't even know who you are anymore, or you've changed so much, you're not the child I raised. But here's the truth. Disagreement doesn't equal rejection. Growing up and developing your own perspectives is actually a sign of healthy development. When family members equate your independence with losing you, they're trying to keep you frozen in a version of yourself that was easier for them to control. Your evolution as a person isn't a betrayal of them. even if it feels uncomfortable for them to adjust to. You aren't changing into someone worse. You're just becoming someone they can't control. These first 4 signs are about immediate emotional manipulation, creating an environment where having your own thoughts feels like committing a crime against the family. But the next 4, they're deeper. These are the long-term control mechanisms that families use to shape not just individual conversations, but your entire future and your relationship with your own voice. If you think these first 4 were tough, sign 5 is the one that usually leaves people feeling the most isolated, and it's the hardest to spot while it's happening. Signs 5 to 8. The control mechanisms. Sign 5. Weaponized silence. You express a different opinion, and suddenly you're met with complete radio silence. They won't answer your calls, they give you one-word responses, or they act like you don't exist until you come to your senses. This isn't healthy space to process feelings. Weaponized silence is deliberate punishment designed to create so much anxiety that you'll do anything to make it stop, including abandoning your own perspective. Picture this. You're in a family group chat, and you express a different view on something. Everyone else's messages get responses, but yours? Complete silence. Or at Sunday dinner, you ask your dad to pass the salt, and he acts like you're invisible, looking right through you while answering everyone else's questions. The whole table can feel the tension, but no one acknowledges it. Your throat tightens. Your hands shake slightly as you reach for your water. Every second of that silence feels like an hour, and you'd do anything, even abandon your own perspective, just to make it stop. You're being punished publicly, and the anxiety of that social vacuum becomes unbearable. Your throat tightens. Your hands shake slightly as you reach for your water. Every second of that silence feels like an hour, and you'd do anything, even abandon your own perspective, just to make it stop. If you've ever experienced weaponized silence, how long did it usually last? A few hours, or was it days? The silence says, your opinion has consequences, and those consequences are losing access to us. It teaches you to fear disagreement more than you value your own voice. This is the most isolating sign. It doesn't just silence your opinion, it silences your existence in the family unit. You only exist to them when you're agreeing. And when they finally do speak again, it's often only to perform their suffering, which brings us to sign 6. Sign 6. The martyr complex. With this pattern, your family doesn't just reference past sacrifices. They perform current suffering. They'll say things like, "You're breaking my heart," or "Every time you talk like this, it feels like a knife in my chest." Notice how your growth becomes reframed as their suffering. They position themselves as the victim of your evolution, making it nearly impossible for you to develop without feeling like you're inflicting pain on them. But here's what they're not saying. Your job isn't to stay small so they can feel comfortable. Sign 7. The family first shield. This is when loyalty gets weaponized. You'll hear, "Family always comes first," or "We don't air our dirty laundry," whenever you challenge the family narrative. Healthy loyalty is a choice you make because you feel safe. Forced loyalty is a tax you pay to avoid being cast out. You're planning your wedding and want to set a boundary with a toxic relative. The moment you mention it, the family slogan drops. Family comes first. Your emotional safety suddenly matters less than maintaining the appearance of unity. Do you agree that family first should have limits? Or do you think family loyalty should be absolute? I'm curious to see the different perspectives on this one. Sign 8. The predicted regret. This is the conversation ender. "You'll be sorry when I'm gone," or "One day you'll understand, but it'll be too late." These statements use future guilt to control your present choices, holding their mortality hostage to get compliance. The regret they're predicting assumes that compliance equals love. It doesn't. If you've ever felt completely trapped by that statement, now you know why. It's the nuclear option. The one tactic that feels impossible to argue against without looking cruel. But here's what most people get wrong. Knowing the signs isn't enough. If you stop here, You'll just be aware of the manipulation while still feeling trapped by it. So how do you actually stop the cycle? There's one mindset shift that changes the entire power dynamic, and it doesn't require you to start a single argument with your family. Conclusion: breaking free from guilt control. First, recognize something important. If you've made it this far and you're seeing the patterns, you've already won a major battle. Most people spend years in this cycle without even realizing there's a pattern. You're already ahead. The shift is this: move from participation to observation. When the guilt trip starts, instead of defending your opinion, mentally label the tactic. That's sign one, the sacrifice narrative. By naming it, you move from being the victim of the manipulation to being the observer of it. When you move to observation, the weight lifts. The guilt trip doesn't land anymore. You aren't cold, you're just finally protected by the truth of what's actually happening. Which of these 8 signs hit the hardest for you today? Write the number in the comments as a way of acknowledging it and starting your shift toward observation. Remember that invisible cost from the beginning? You aren't losing arguments. You're losing yourself. Having different opinions doesn't make you ungrateful or disloyal. It makes you human. If these signs resonated deeply, consider talking to a therapist who specializes in family dynamics. Don't forget to subscribe for more content on protecting your mental health and family dynamics. And as always, thanks for watching.